and welcome to the Madhouse UK podcast. I'm Steve Tierney, and this is the podcast I promised yesterday, today. So, actually, I've sort of broken it really because it's gone past midnight, so it's technically Tuesday now. So, not quite Monday, but you know, what does it matter? We're 24-hour people. Anyway, various things to talk about tonight, and I did promise this was going to be quite an exciting podcast. I hope it is, because I do have some interesting news, but in my usual way, I'm going to preamble it a little bit and talk about some other stuff first. So, what have I got? Okay, first of all, want to welcome back Vasco Roma to the game. Vasco is one of, we had quite a few players do this, but one of the players who's been watching the podcast has renewed his interest somewhat in Dungeonworld, I hope, because he said he'd like to join, and he sent a start up for the new game under the special offer that I'm making to all the old players who might want to come back and rejoin the game. So if in doubt, email me, find out what I can do for you. We will make a great deal so that you can get back involved in the game. It doesn't have to cost you any money at all in the first instance. Obviously, we hope one day it will, because we're a business. But no, a great introductory offer to get you back into the game that's free, and see if you have fun again. So welcome back anyway, Vasco. I hope that you enjoy Dungeonworld and you get back involved in what's going on in the game. What else have we got? Okay, so various news about what the king's doing and what's going on with the crown and around the kingdom. And there's some interesting things. First of all, the rumour, well, it's more than a rumour because it's been noted by many important people and people in positions of power that Duke Estavios Soulsaver has been acting as a kind of chief royal advisor now. He's not been officially appointed as that. Prince Dickon, now King Dickon, hasn't said that that's actually the case, so it's just unofficial, but certainly a lot does seem to be going through the Duke, and he is known as somebody who's got the king's ear. Now, these are just rumours, so perhaps it's not true, but that's what people are saying at the moment, and consequently Duke Estavios' position in the kingdom is rising on the back of the fact that people know he's got the king's ear. But all is not good news, because there are some things going on in the kingdom that are problematic, or maybe problematic, who knows. So first of all, Jobla, the city of Jobla. Now, Jobla is to the north of Poldoon, and people will have noticed from the five new areas that one of the areas is based in Jobla. Now, the Duchess Marinda Reinhardt Soldi has made an announcement, and it is as follows. The Duchess has noted the new legal standing of Poldoon and has sent in a writ of intention, noting that the citizens of Jobla will be petitioned in regards to the status of their city. This notice of intent maintains Jobla's status as a city of Bereny under the Crown, pending the result of the referendum. So the Duchess is going to ask the people of Jobla imminently if they would like to do what Poldoon has done, or something else. And has what they're saying in Jobla at the moment, what the Duchess is saying is they are maintaining their position as a city of the crown, pending that referendum, which puts an interesting ball into the royal court, if you like, because they now have to decide how to respond to that. It's not technically illegal to hold a referendum. It would only be against the law if they did something as a result of the referendum. So. And that what's happened in Poldoon hasn't been challenged yet. So clearly the royal lawyers either didn't feel it was worth challenging, or have taken a strategic decision not to challenge what Poldoon has done. And now enough time has passed that it's essentially accepted that Poldoon has gone its own way. And well, who knows where it leads. So that's Jobla. Now I've got some news from Meadowbrook as well, and I'll read that out. The city of Meadowbrook, only recently reconstructed from its former devastation, has elected a new duke from among the ranks of the common folk. There were 9 candidates in the election, and the winner, with 56% of the vote, was Emily Plug. That's interesting, isn't it? Because that means if they've got 56% of the vote, it beat the other 8 candidates altogether. That's an absolute mandate. This is of interest for 2 reasons. First of all, no city has ever held an election for its duke before, and secondly, because Emily is not a human, but a goblin. Having been orphaned during the Goblin Wars some years ago, she was brought up in the wastes of the old city by human foster parents. She is a campaigner for goblin rights and for the forgiveness of war actions, and as an adult she has been running the city's homeless shelter for the last 3 years. She is well thought of within the city by all of the races, as the election result shows, but her method of selection is technically illegal, and is already being seen as a challenge to the authority of the Crown. In her victory statement, though, Emily was more careful, saying, "Thank you for electing me in this grand new experiment in how we, the people, govern ourselves. However, As a ruler of our kingdom, the decision as to whether to ratify me as the winner, and thereby this system as valid, must be that of the new King of Bereny. I await his word and command. So Emily Plug is not currently a duchess and can't just become a duchess technically, because they have to be elevated by the king. And they've decided to hold an election which wasn't sanctioned and isn't within the law. But again, as I said about Jobler, there's no law against holding an election or a referendum or anything like that. The law is what you do afterwards and how that's affected. So that's a different sort of challenge really to the Crown, and we'll see how they respond. Okay, news from the city of Lionel. And you'll notice you can see these places on the map here, which is above me on this screen. But if you want to see a big version of the map and see where things are, you can go to the Madhouse UK website, click on Dungeonworld Adventures, and then one of the options is Map of Bereny, and you can have a good close look at it and see where everything is in relation to each other. So Lionel says, in the city of Lionel, there is a rumour that the passing of the older Duchess, heirless, the king has selected a new holder for the duchy, whatever the word is. The name is not available at this time, but the city's inhabitants seem pleased that a decision may be forthcoming in these troubled times, particularly given Lionel's proximity to some of the rebellious actions and indeed their involvement in it. So that's a bit more good news for the king. Apparently the word is that the king has now chosen or nominated someone who may potentially be the new duke or duchess, and so that's a kind of an action that is helping the crown, if you like, at the moment. Okay, what else have we got? Among some of other new appointments, King Dickon has chosen Baron Serpio Blackshroud to take the role of Royal Diener, I think I'm saying that right, who will be responsible for both the Royal Morgue and mortuaries. Now, that doesn't sound much, does it? Just being responsible for a morgue and some mortuaries. The royal mortuaries are places where people with some sort of rank are buried if they want to be. Kind of all the family are buried near one another, and it's where all the barons and dukes and duchesses and the like are buried. But what makes this role interesting is that it goes a little bit beyond just being in charge of the mortuaries and the morgue. It also means that he becomes a key advisor to the crown on matters of death and the undead, which is interesting because there has been some problem about some undead in the Kingdom of Bereny for some time. Vampires have been controversial for a long time and are probably set to become more controversial. So the introduction of this new person as an advisor, well, it depends on how much of the king's ear he's got, but it's a new cog in the wheel, if you like. Okay, so apparently there is more news to follow, more shocking news to follow, in some cases, in regards to the cities of Hasjan, Gorst and White Citadel. So I'm not going to tell you them yet. That's to come later in the week, into the new year, I expect. But that's pretty much everything that I've picked up. I did just want to comment. I got an email from Matt Hillman. Matt is a player who said he's very annoyed when I don't use the L2 order to enter new areas. Yeah, I can appreciate why that would annoy you, Matt. It might potentially means an extra turn to get into the place if you don't know what the order is. Although normally that only happens the once, and then players kind of tell each other what the correct order is. But there's a reason for it. It's not just madness. So, excuse me. So, the reason behind it is because in the old days, it used to be L2 to get up and down stairs, to get in and out of dungeons all the time. And then a lot of other L orders were used to do different things, but quite often to get in and out of places. And sometimes it's possible, it has been in the past, possible for two entrances to be in the same place. So you've got a way to get into one place, but another way to get into another place. And I took the decision many, many years ago that it would be the general entrances to named dungeons with courtyards up and down stairs that would be L2, and everything else would have its own L order, so that if I ever wanted to put two one on top of another, they wouldn't clash with one another, and you wouldn't only be able to go to the first one in the stack of orders. Now, as it happens, that hasn't happened very often, hardly ever actually. I've never really needed to do it, but it was a decision I took early on, and I've kind of kept to it as a convention. I think it's quite interesting because it does mean that you have to go and explore the place and do the look order, which gives you information. Otherwise, if you just knew it was L2, you would never have to do the L order, and you might miss some key information about the place. Like, for instance, there are some stairs. I've had bug reports in the past where people have said, oh, I've been trying to go down these stairs for 3 turns and they're not working. Why are they not working? And I've gone and had a look, and the stairs are blocked. And it says in the L description order, these stairs are blocked, you've got to do this, or this has happened, or this is the reason. But they've never bothered to look. They've just gone there and done an L2 to go down the stairs. So they didn't know why it wasn't working, but it wasn't a bug. I want people to use those L orders because there's often information hidden in L orders, which is why I make sure that particularly new places do have to do a specific order to have a look. So that's pretty much that, really. Hopefully that's explained it to you a little bit, Matt. I'm sorry it's a little bit annoying, but one of those things. Anyway, this is it until the new year. I won't be doing one on New Year's Eve. I will be working hard tomorrow trying to get Demon Rift finished, so who knows what's going to happen, eh? But until then, have a fantastic new year. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the magic bell. And that's it, really. I'll see you all in 2020. Have a good one.